I'm Tyler Jackson, and today I'll be talking about the 4 factors that make up a good quarterback. Those 4 factors being ball placement, pocket presence, the ability to read defense, and the mind of the quarterback. And you're probably thinking, this guy does not look like a quarterback, and I'm not. I do play football, but I've played very little quarterback, and in the time I did, I completely messed up my knee, which required me to have surgery. So that's definitely not my position, so to say. But I've grew up with the game of football. I understand all the little specifics of it, and I've studied the game from more so outside of a fan's perspective, but almost just to see like the insights and specifics of the sport I've grew up loving. And so one of the factors, we'll just get it off, is simply ball accuracy. And a lot of people put this in the same category as, or ball placement, I mean. A lot of people put this in the same category as accuracy, and while it does play hand in hand, it's not necessarily the same thing. Accuracy is a good thing because you do have to get the ball to whoever, your quarterback is throwing to, but at the same time, accuracy is only so good whenever the defense is, kind of lesser. But if you're going up against a good defense as a quarterback, the best have good ball placement, being able to put the ball exactly where the defense isn't going to be able to see it. ESPN analyst and former NFL quarterback Dan Orlovsky, he talks about the importance of ball placement, and he says that accuracy is the ability to throw the ball to your guy, while ball placement is kind of keeping it away from the defender. And he says he ranks the best of the best, and while some people have better accuracy, ball placement is where it all comes down to. Another one is pocket presence. This is a big one, especially in today's league, because today's league is definitely at the forefront is a dual threat quarterback. You have people such as Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, and then even some of the older players in the league, such as Russell Wilson, who rely very heavily on their ability to scramble and not necessarily their ability to sit in the pocket and make decisions on the fly. Well, that is, as some people could say, it's a dying art, is pocket presence, but it's honestly the most important because, people can argue who the best players are and who are not, but Tom Brady is arguably the greatest NFL player to ever touch the field. But he wasn't known for his dual threat running. He wasn't known to be able to get out of the pocket and make a play. He was known for being able to sit in the pocket, read the defense, make sure he could understand what was going on, and then, make a play off of that. He wasn't trying to get out, trying to scramble and dodge a sack. He was stuck in the pocket, reading the defense, making a play. And another thing is simply being able to read defenses. Just being able to understand the defense and how it matches up to the offense that's going on plays such a big part in the role of a quarterback because, under center or in the shotgun before the snap, you got to see if that, how many safeties you have up high, or if that outside linebacker is blitzing, or if he's just, showing, or, how many people's in the middle, if the slant route's going to be able to, there's so many different able things. And while not necessarily just under the center, when the play starts, things are going to go the way you thought they were. That outside linebacker who you thought was blitzing might not actually blitz. And then that safety who you thought was going to stay in the back, he rolls down and he starts to blitz. You have to understand that all these things, are going to be different, each play varying on the defensive plays, by how the defense is going to be set up. So understanding the defense, understanding the positions of them plays a major part. And another thing, it kind of plays hand in hand with understanding defense, but it is the mind of the quarterback. I feel like this is a very almost, kind of underrated thing that a quarterbacks have. It's about, who can throw the farthest, who's got the fastest ball speed, but this is honestly probably the most important because as a quarterback, you're the leader, you're the vocal point of the offense of the team. And you have to understand all the positions, not just yours. You have to understand what are the blocking assignments for the lineman in front of you. Is your running back, where is he going? Is he getting the ball? Where is he? What types of receivers you have lined up to you, all these different variables go into a successful play in the game of football, and it all starts at the quarterback and how he's going to be able to respond under pressure. And, I know a lot of people can make the claim that, like, oh, well, you got to be tall and you got to be fast and all this. Well, some of the best NFL players, weren't very tall and weren't very fast. Brad Gagnon in the National Football Post, he writes about, the best short quarterbacks of all time. And his number one is Fran Tarkenton, old Vikings quarterback. And, he was only 6 foot, which, for a majority of the world is pretty tall. But in the NFL, you have it going up against 6'5", 6'6" defensive linemen. It doesn't seem that big. And, he wasn't the fastest, but he was mobile. So that does play a part in how, his game. But he wasn't the tallest, but that didn't stop him. He had all the other things. He had ball accuracy. He was able to stay in the pocket. He was able to read the defense. He was able to elevate his game without necessarily having the physical attributes as some people like Tom Brady, do, or Dan Marino both standing at 6'4", or even Josh Allen in today's league standing at 6'5". So, while this stuff, some people can say, oh, well, this isn't really for the natural fan. This all knowing this stuff doesn't really provide any, sort of reason. Well, I mean, really, it kind of does. If you're into the game of football, knowing, these 4 factors, especially maybe as a coach, being able to see what needs to be worked on from your players and kind of understanding what and how to help them with, I think will definitely help. One, help your players and help shape the future of the game of football that we all know and love. And at the same time, it'll kind of give you a more specific understanding of football itself, instead of being like, oh, okay, well, quarterbacks just throw. Well, no, there's definitely a lot more that goes into account of the position of a quarterback. And so hopefully these 4 factors have helped you, and thank you.